Alright, welcome back to another Axis and Allies 1942 online video. This will be match 3 of my participation within the duos tournament here. Husky and I are hoping to beat our next opponents, Reba and Jessabal, so we can advance up the losers bracket. Now, from what I've seen, Reba is a strong mid-plat level player who currently is, by the time of recording, the 88th plat for Allies. Jessabal doesn't seem to play much ranked. These are stats from Season 8. He mostly partakes in the various leagues and tournaments that occur on the ANA Discord, but he's definitely a top level player, that's for sure. Alright, on with the game. Alright, here we are, match 3. This time, myself and Husky will be playing the Axis. I'll be playing as Germany and Husky as Japan. Reba as Russia and the US, and Jessabal as the United Kingdom. No bids this game. Alright, so let's go over what Russia did here. 4 infantry, 2 tanks, Org standard Russia. Alright. Yeah, 4 infantry to the Caucasus and 2 tanks to Russia. Took West Russia, losing 3 infantry, and then attacked and strafed Ukraine, losing only 2 infantry, leaving my fighter behind. So a very strong start for Russia. Every single game so far this tournament has been a uphill battle, but we'll see how Germany 1 goes here. Yeah, this will be very tough. Quite an unforgiving start, I will say. 6 Russian tanks. Gives Russia so much more flexibility in both KGF and KGF. India defense, you name it. It's a very deadly and scary punch when used by... Well, Reba here is an experienced player. I've played against him before, I'm pretty sure. He's a pretty consistent platinum level player. Yep, so this will be a difficult one. Alright, well, Germany doesn't really have to worry too much about this round, except the naval battles, of course. Because Ukraine, I don't have to worry about it. I get to keep an extra plane here. And I'm going to combo it with a 7 infantry, 2 artilleries, and a bomber purchase, get up to 7 air. And I'm going to do my best to try and dead zone the Atlantic here. After that strong Russia start, it's going to take Germany longer to kick Russia off of West Russia this game. There's not really much I can do about it. With 6 additional tanks and the extra artillery and the 2 extra dudes from the Ukraine strafe. Quite a significant amount of material that Russia has actually managed to keep. So Russia's already pretty strong in this game. Now, yeah, both opponents here are quite experienced, so I'm actually willing to take a risk on Season 10 for that reason, and because of how well Russia strafed Ukraine. So I'm going to go 5-1 here. Hopefully wipe out the UK Navy. And then I'm hoping to be able to dead zone the Atlantic until the US arrive if it's a KGF. That's my plan. I will do the standard. Go after Transjordan. And hopefully Germany can respond with a strong turn against the Russian turn. And then it'll be a pretty good game. It would be. It can be enjoyable as Germany when you're facing this Russia this strong. Yeah, so hopefully I can match the same energy as the Russians here. Alright, yep. Good luck to the Germans. Alrighty. Hopefully we can take TJ here. Okay, good start so far. Alright, so the objective here is to kill the destroyer. I'm fine if the transport survives. I just need to kill that destroyer. So, yeah, okay. That's pretty unfortunate there. Okay, dude, come on. No need for that. Okay, well, at least the cruiser lived. I do hope that that cruiser does get a hit back there. Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, Germany didn't get burned anywhere, but I was really hoping that would work. That would give Germany quite a bit of respite. It'll give them some compensation after that Russia won. But it's alright. We will deal with it. UK could still take France. What's that? Kills the... I suppose Allies could be greedy here and just have US kill the cruiser and then have 2 destroyers, a cruiser carrier, 2 fighters. Which would make it a 6-on-7 for 1 transport, which isn't that valuable for Germany to hit. That would be very greedy, but they could probably get away with it considering how strong Russia is in the game. Yeah, I was really hoping that would work. Allies don't need to take any risks here. They can play full standard. Like, they don't have to put a fleet down, but maybe UK is completely fine with putting a fleet down here. That'd be so greedy. It would insult me if they send the lone bomber to kill it and not send the UK to deal with it. That would, God, absolute gall to do that. But it could work. It could work. At least respect me a little bit. Come on. Alright, so I'm gonna leave my tanks in Baltic because then Russia is then incentivized to trade all 3 territories. Mostly because Ukraine's a pretty natural trade for Russia here. I say that. Do I put my tanks in? I do say it. The reason for putting my tanks in Baltic because Russia wants to naturally trade Ukraine. But if I put my tanks here, it pressures Archangel and West Russia. So they have to be... I say that though, but they had such a strong start, I don't think it matters. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter because of Russia's start. No point compromising myself. I might as well put all my tanks in Poland so I can threaten Caucasus if Russia somehow fails. Ukraine take. I'm going to deploy here so UK is kind of incentivized to attack the battleship. Which would have UK then send carry a cruiser at 61, and it's a more likely chance that that fails in comparison to the cruiser fighter. And if Japan is feeling up for a risk, depending on UK's turn, and we will talk about Russia's turn, without that UK fighter there, it might be worth Japan rolling on your Szechuan. It does depend, of course, if it's even worth the risk in the first place, or its value is over Pearl. I would like Japan to do Pearl this game because I'm investing in aircraft with Germany, and I have an extra plane, so that then it would stop. It will most likely stop Allied Medchuck plays in the future, and it will keep Allied fleets tightly to 1 or 2 sea zones instead of splitting 8, 3, and 15, for example. All right. Pretty punishing. All right. We'll see. Normally I see games with a pretty strong strafe like this. It does turn into a capital exchange between the allies and Axis. We'll see if it will turn into a long game like that or not. Well, allies go KGF. I don't see the reason to KGF in this situation because of how strong Russia is. Normally Russia 1 does determine whether to go KGF or KGF, but most of the time KGF is just the stronger option if you get a strong Russia 1. I do worry that Russia buys more tanks next round to dead zone this for a further turn. That would be pretty annoying in a KGF. Japan would have to rush through center. Alright, that's the end of Germany round 1, and I'll be back with Germany round 2. Alright, welcome back to Germany round 2 here. Now, I have already recorded this round, but I recorded it with my microphone on mute, so it's just game audio. So bit of a boo-boo there, but I will quickly go over the footage and explain what happened. So let's start with UK 1 here with 3 infantry, 2 fighters, 3 infantry to India, and then 2 fighters to UK, of course. Yeah. Skip ahead here. As you can see, yeah, UK cleared 7. Go quickly move to... Yeah, it took France for 3, sacking the transport. Killed the transport in 5. Took Transjordan, losing an infantry. Killed the cruiser in Zeno 7. No units lost. I was hoping for a hit back in 7, but it's alright. Killed the battleship, losing the bomber. And then, of course, cleared Zone 61. Yeah, losing the cruiser, and the fighter went to Szechuan. Okay, so yeah, pretty standard stuff from UK 1. See, a very interesting formation of a chain of a single fighter from UK, 1 Arch, 1 West Russia, 1 Caucasus, and 1 Persia, which is interesting. I'm sure that there's purpose behind it. I don't see the difference. We go to Japan 1 here with, yeah, the standard triple transport infantry tank. Everything into Japan in season 60. Yeah, it cleared, well, it took Bury for 3. Let's see, don't remember the casualties here. Here we are. Yeah, killed the transport in 34, and the fighter went to Libya. Took out the cruiser in 61. Actually, no. Oh, okay. Yeah. Thought UK lost that, but no. It took Yunnan, no units lost. Took, well, failed Burma, losing an infantry, killing one. Lost two in Anhui. And then actually attacked Szechuan. And there was 3 infantry, 1 fighter. Yeah, that was interesting decision. So it was either Szechuan or Pearl here. Pearl is pretty good to do when Germany does have inflated air force. I have an extra fighter and I bought a bomber. Sometimes Pearl is a pretty good move in KGFs, especially. Stops like Medshuk plays and it forces allies to combine into fewer sea zones. But we actually opted for Szechuan instead. We opted to take another risk because of Russia's very good round one, and I think Germany failed to clear Sea Zone 10. I don't remember. So we thought, considering how experienced these players are, we thought Szechuan would be the better option here. A risk worth taking, and yeah, killed the 3 infantry, but the US fighter did survive. That is almost the average. It came to a US fighter versus the 2 fighters and 1 Japanese bomber. And we decided, go again, kill that fighter. It's always pretty useful to kill that. But of course, the Japanese whiffed, right? And the US got a hit. So after that, Japan retreated with the fighter bomber. That seems to have convinced the Allies that KJF is the better option in this game. So yeah, this would be an interesting game, KJF. I do think this gives the Axis the chance to come back, I will say, after that strong Russia start. Normally, especially after the dominating Russia won, often KGF strategies are better at just flat out the strongest strategy in comparison to KGFs. So I do think this will give us the chance to come back here. Despite the full transport, but I don't think that hinders Japan too much. Japan's down 1 fighter than average, so... But Japan didn't suffer many losses on the ground, so Japan can maintain their income for much longer. It seems to be only US KJF, so again, that gives Japan the strength to go toe to toe with US longer, as long as Germany can push forward, right? Yeah, did US do any other combats? I don't think they did. Oh yeah, they took Solomon's. Do I skip US's turn? No, I'm going over round 1. Okay. Come on, let's go to US. So yeah, it's US with a carrier, destroyer, transport, 2 submarines. It's an interesting decision to get the transport over the destroyer. Normally, KGF's the most optimal buy is a carrier, 2 destroyers, and 2 submarines for the most attack power and defensive power for the US fleet. But actually, yeah, sacked off a destroyer for an extra transport, which tells me that allies are going to be playing aggressively with their transports and might be willing to sacrifice them to try and grab the islands. And if the dice are on their side, they'll get the islands, and that will cause a lot of problems for Japan. Yeah, and they also brought the destroyer 2 transports for 19, so this is full KJF from US. So, yeah, I mean, this is a little dangerous for Japan, but US is not going to be grabbing North Africa, for example, or Norway. So, if Japan can hold, then US actually loses out a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, it took Solomon's no units lost as well. Sent their fighter that survived in Szechuan to West Russia. Do I go over Russia's turn? So Russia bought 8 infantry, 4 for Caucasus, and then 4 for Moscow. They actually took Karelia. No units lost, and then took Ukraine as well. Now, I initially I thought before I recorded this that this was a failed Russian strafe. I was thinking, great, that's awesome. But it actually turns out this was not a failed strafe. This was an intentional take, because Russia actually sent their fighters to Karelia. They could give a rat's ass about the AA gun there and risk those precious Russian planes, and they got away with it. So that's very unfortunate. And just to add to the sting, no units lost, as well as Ukraine. Yeah, yeah. So a practically spotless Russia 1 and then a flawless Russia 2. This is going to be a tough game. And a decent mini stack in Ukraine. Though I have enough units to deal with it. But yeah, so it is KGF, so I have to push myself forward here as Germany. And the buy will be 10 grand on a bomber. I think it's fine to go up to 8 air. And 10 ground that will make their way towards Karelia or Caucasus. Yeah, so the plan is... Yeah, Japan wants me to send bombers over as soon as they're free. To send bombers over to China so that I can clear US bombers, US blockers, I mean. So that's something, and that's another problem that the US have to deal with when they're trying to push forward. They can't block. Otherwise, I can just clear it, and then Japan wipes out the US fleet, most likely. So yeah, the plan is to stack Karelia, take Ukraine, take back France, and kill the free transport. I did put a note here to see if it's possible to kill those two as well as these attacks, but I do give up on that because I wanted to focus more on the France trade. If I fail France, that's so catastrophic. If I fail Ukraine, that's also catastrophic. And now stacking Karelia, assuming Russia gets no hitbacks, the 75% to hold, but let's assume Russia gets 2, it goes down to I think it's a 48 or even 42% to hold. But regardless, I have to push forward here with Germany. I can't wait here. Yeah, and then I end the recording because I ran out of time and I had to go do something. So I'll switch to the next one. So yeah, that is the combat. I send 3 infantry, 4 fighters, and 1 bomber to Ukraine. Infantry, artillery. 2 infantry, 1 artillery, 1 fighter here, and the rest the stack into Karelia. I'm sure I had some really interesting things to say, but I can't remember, so it really sucks that I forgot. So yeah, I 1-round him, and then Russia actually gets 2 hitbacks. So that's quite unfortunate for Germany there. Go to Ukraine. Lucky enough for me, I 1-round him, but then he gets 3 hitbacks. So this is going to be a really tough game. It really is. The Allied dice are on fire right now. And this is really bad. This is really bad. The Axis cannot afford to be slowed down this much. When in a KGF, Japan's got a limited amount of time, and I have to succeed all my trades and push forward. Yeah. UK also gets another hit back in. So yeah, a very costly round for Germany, but there was profit, but still, that's way more than I would have liked. Ukraine needed to be taken there. So that's -2 income for Germany there. And Russia could actually roll the dice if they wanted to on Karelia, because they have 10 ground, 10 infantry as fodder, and then they have 8 attacking units, 6 tanks, 2 fighters. They have 10 ground to chew through my 7 to get to my tanks. If Russia wanted to be aggressive here, and if Russia won the combat and conquered, that's probably game, to be completely honest. Considering how how bad that went for Germany that round, I actually stacked Poland lightly than I normally would, because I wanted to see if I could bait the Russian tanks and 2 fighters to actually attack it. But I think, yeah, like Russia has like a 36% on this. They trade their teeth to kill 3 of my fighters, average as I have a fighter left. I don't think Russia ever takes that, but yeah, very unfortunate round for Germany there. And as you can see, the AP gap is already caught up. Allies have already caught up, and it's a KJF. It's not a good sign. Yeah, that is the end of the round. And I'll be back with hopefully a proper recording of Germany 3. Right, welcome back to Germany round 3 here. Go back to UK 2. With a carrier, transport, 2 infantry, 1 artillery, and a destroyer. Transport, destroyer, carrier to 7, and then 2 infantry, 1 artillery to India. Blitzed Egypt. Pretty much it. Yeah, moved into 44 with the US. A little confused there. Yeah, stacked Transjordan with their 4 fighters, which is an interesting move. I mean, if UK wants to do some tank 4 fighters against this, I'm fine with that. If they want to trade some planes, be my guest. Anything to get them to do unnecessary risks, I'll happily take that. Yeah, stack 7 out of the way of my planes. Left to fight it in West Russia. Japan with a double destroyer submarine fighter. 2 destroyers to 62 with a sub in 60. Fighter to Japan. Combat bombed Moscow. Which, I think we did agree that we're behind, so it's worth bombing Moscow here, definitely. Yeah, took Xinjiang, Soviet Far East, and Burma for free. And actually stacked 47 and also stacked Borneo. Yep, and then unloaded into these 2 tiles. So yeah, Japan's got like a very nice number of units in China to sustain their income. So I think Japan can keep up with the US for quite a while here. US with 2 destroyers and 4 submarines, which is the best buy, most cost-effective buy for a KGF USA 2 buy. It took Iwo Jima, losing an infantry, which is great. The more they play around taking islands and taking losses, that's really good for us. And stacked 59. It's interesting. I don't know if that's the best move that the US had. Oh, that's probably why. I reckon UK blocks 48. I think that's fine though. That should be fine. Japan can still clear a non-com to 60. Actually, maybe not. I was a little worried there that that would be a quite. Japan wants to go into 60 on their round and stack it. Yeah, that doesn't mean anything. Yep, alright. Yeah, left their fighter in West Russia, of course. Russia with 9 ground, 8 infantry, 1 artillery, repaired 1 on Moscow. Yeah, it took Belorussia 1-1 perfect, so another perfect round for Russia. I mean, it was only 1 combat, but yeah, Russia's having 0 problems with their combat so far. Alright, so yeah, of course, stacked West Russia still. So the plan for Germany is 11 ground. It would have been 14, but I failed Ukraine after those deadly hitbacks from Russia. Yeah, I'm just going to continue to stack Karelia. I'm going to stack Baltic states and France. France to stop UK obviously taking it. And Baltic states because there is a play that UK could clear Bello. Or US clears Bello and then Russia sends the 6 tanks to fighters. I can stack it with a 56% chance to hold. Minus 36 attacker profit. And that is a 1-2 punch from UK if UK also attacks it with their fleet. I would happily take that. That's so silly, in my opinion, to take such a move, but I don't know what to expect. You have to be mindful when Russia has this massive tank core. Your stacks are vulnerable to can openers, as Germany. It's very dangerous. France, I'm going to stack it at any percent to hold, and Karelia, I'm also going to stack it at 80%. So there's no real worry here. A 1-2 50-50 on Baltic states is so unnecessary to take. And leaving my tanks here should dead zone a Ukraine stack. I don't think allies will go for it. But I want to protect the German units moving into Baltic states. Well, it's a pretty simple turn for Germany here. Yeah, I'm going to attack Archangel. I'm going to blitz Egypt. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. I'm going to leave 1 bomber in France. Not really necessary, but I might as well. Or do I even want to do that? Not necessary. 2. I do like the bomber in Karelia a bit more. Yeah, well, if UK goes to 13, the bomber's still in range. Yeah, I'm going to take Ukraine and obviously take Bello. Yeah, if I'm doing that, then this bomber might as well hit Archangel here. There's no kill like overkill. I'm going to leave all my planes in Karelia because I am stacking France. Dead zone 8 and 3 as hard as I can. But I am sending a bomber to Anway. Yeah, So I actually still dead zone 3 as much as I can. So UK probably moves to 8. Might maybe buys another ship. Or buys 2 fighters. I guess 2 fighters work because that would be, what is that? 4, 6. 6 versus 7. For the price of 1 transport, it's not really worth it. Actually, I don't know. Maybe UK moves to 6. I reckon UK moves to 6. To take Norway. 2, 4. Yeah, the bombers here to stop US blockers in the future. Good luck to the Germans. Oh, very nice. Beautiful. If the German rounds are gonna respond with flawlessness as well, I'll happily take that. So France, I want to leave 4 ground here. 4 infantry. That is a 80%. This AA gun will go here. 2 infantry. Move everything into Baltic and then bring 5 tanks. So I could bait it a little more. Because if UK hits this, then Japan needs to send their fighter there anyway. So I might bait Baltic a little harder. I will stay on keep. AA. Yeah, that should be fine. There any point in baiting that? That's enough pressure. 5 tanks and 8 aircraft on Moscow. This is a mandatory save mandatory trade every single round for Russia. 2 artilleries, 10 infantry, 1 to Italy. 44 IPC for Germany is much better. I had Armway or Yunnan to pick. I think Armway is slightly better, so US doesn't get any ideas of sacking fighters to kill my bomber. The bomber is completely safe here from UK and US planes. For this entire rest of the round until it's Germany 4, so Japan doesn't need to worry about protecting it. Yeah. Good stuff. And there you go. It's round 3, and the AP lead is equal after Germany's turn. That's not a good sign. It's really not a good sign. Can't understate that. So hopefully the dice show us some mercy somewhere later into this game, where it matters most. Right, that's the end of Germany round 3, and I'll be back for Germany round 4. Right, welcome back to Germany round 4. Go back to UK 3 with a transport destroyer, 3 infantry, 1 tank. Transport destroyer to 6. 2 infantry, 1 tank to India, and an infantry to United Kingdom. Blitzed Egypt, taking Norway for 3, and then took back Burma, killing 1, losing nothing. Another 1-to-1 trade. Stack 6, I did think that was their best position for that fleet. Yeah, stacked 59 with the US. And yeah, keeping TJ stacked to dead zone Egypt. Moved 1 guy up to Caucasus. I do not want to do that. Japan with a carrier, 4 submarines. All into Sea Zone 60. Blitzed Novo. Took Yakut, Kazakh for 3, took Evenki for 3, and took Burma back. No units lost. Stacked 60. And sacked the transport to close Burma. Little stack in Xinjiang here. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think this is a pretty good position for Japan. Because Japan's next move is just to go back to 36 and close the door again. So UK won't be able to get out next turn either. In theory, I'm pretty sure it is dead zone, so there's no stacking of Burma from UK as well. Yeah. I do wonder if allies are gonna like start sacking transports or not. But the longer they wait, the better it is for the Axis, I think. US with a destroyer, 5 submarines into 56, no combat. Moved back to 44. Sent a bomber to Western. Their fighter to India. I think they're going to try and go to 46. I don't think that's going to work though. Okay. I'm not sure how the sub play works for US. I think the carrier and fighter drops are far stronger. Because you're trying to get a fleet strong enough to stack a territory. And carriers and fighters are normally the most cost-effective for fleet defense. I mean, I suppose numbers will work. I might eat my own words in the future. But US isn't trying to dead zone territories. Japan is doing that. So I'm not sure it really works. What's that? I mean, it's fodder, right? I suppose it could work. I just think the carrier fighter play is slightly stronger for the US. Yeah, the mass sub purchases is more effective for Japan, because Japan is set on dead zoning sea zone tiles when US is trying to stack into them. Russia with 8 infantry and repaired 2 to Moscow. 4 and 4 to Caucasus and Moscow, respectively. Took Novo for 3. Took back Archangel, losing an infantry. Attacked Bello, failing, losing 2 infantry. Took Ukraine, no units lost. Here we are, some German hitbacks finally. I'll definitely take that. Hopefully that's a sign for more good things to come. Yeah, and gave up west of Russia. And is dead zoning Archangel and west of Russia. Well, I've not calculated Archangel, but I know West Russia is dead zoned currently. But I don't need to stack Archangel anymore since West Russia has been dislodged now. Alright, the plan for Germany is 12 infantry, 2 artilleries. I'm going to continue to stack France and Karelia, and I'm going to just move the vast majority of my infantry towards Ukraine now. Ukraine and West Russia. So hopefully I can stack it next round. I don't think so. Russia has so many units. I don't think it's possible to stack West Russia next round, but round 6 maybe. I'm definitely stacking Ukraine next round. It's just whether or not I get what's the timing right now? I guess it's more of a round 6 timing on West Russia, and then it should be G7 focuses. But it's to be expected. Russia had such a killer start, so I am slowed down. But I think Japan's in a very good position to delay US for longer than the usual timing, I will say. Since it's only US and no other allied member trying to assist. So, alright. Right, the plan is Ukraine. Blitz Egypt again, that's fine. Archangel, Relia. Now, I'm going to attack this sea zone here and bombing raid Moscow. The reason for killing this cruiser transport, well, mostly the cruiser here, is that takes away a blocker for the US. So yeah, it stops US stacking a territory that's obviously dead zoned, but then blocking the Japanese fleet, so it protects itself. It will basically mean that US can block, I can clear, but then UK then blocks right afterwards, protecting the US fleet. So if I could take this out now and hopefully get lucky and keep the bomber alive, that's a dead blocker, and then US can't really block for themselves without the risk of the German bomber killing it. Of course, if I win and get out scot-free, the transport also dies, which is pretty nice. I'm going to bomb Moscow. Because I think we are behind as Axis, and I think this is good value here. Russia's going to want to keep this as close to fully repaired as possible, because they will lose Caucasus in the future. So yeah, a lot of risk, and hopefully I can take Ukraine with no double hit back. Hopefully West Russia goes well, and hopefully I can just kill the unit. Might get lucky and take the territory. We're going to need some luck for the Axis here since we are behind, so there's a lot of risk going on now. Yeah, so that will be the plan for the Axis here. Alright. Yeah, I don't normally... I rarely bombing raid as Germany in a KJF, but I think it does warrant it in this game. Yeah, I don't think I'm missing anything here. I tried looking into a Ukraine stack, but it does require... If I could try and stack it on my turn, but Russia needs to miss I need to take no losses, but it's still a 50-50. Almost IPC neutral. Yeah, Russia has a 55% IPC neutral battle. I don't know if Japan can spare a fighter. A single fighter will flip it to a 70% hold, but if I take this with no losses, then I will have to talk to my ally. I'll have to discuss with my ally whether it's worth stacking it with that Japanese fighter. Alright, I'll definitely take that. Anything but losing the bomber. Like, it's so painful losing that bomber there. Ooh, I mean, it's a 50. if I stack it, I'll gladly take this result. I'm very happy I managed to take this territory. But if we stack it now, it's a straight coin flip. It's a straight coin flip. Okay, yeah, that's to be expected, I think. Miss? Of course not. Alright, this is probably one of the most important battles here. So hopefully Germany can kill that cruiser. Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That is chef's kiss right there. Sucks about Archangel, but that was a very good round for Germany. Nice cheeky bombing raid as well. Right, I will pause here because I'm going to have to discuss whether it's worth us stacking this now and offering a risk to the allies since we are still behind. Alright, this will be the final configuration for Germany here. So we agreed that we're gonna... It's not worth the effort trying to stack Ukraine. This fighter is quite valuable for Japan's defense in the future. It's pretty much all hands on deck. Japan defending themselves, so we're gonna give up on this. Without that fighter and that casualty, it's just too much profit for Russia. I'm just gonna let them trade it, that's fine. And yeah, I'm just gonna stack Karelia with all my planes and tanks. Yep, and then send every available infantry towards Ukraine. I will stack it next round. I will threaten to stack West Russia as well. I don't think it's realistic with the amount of Russians in range. I think Russia just has to buy like a batch of artillery and it's already dead zoned without Japanese air. So yeah, Ukraine will be G5. Hopefully West Russia G6. Which hopefully leaves a G7 Caucasus. Depending on the state of the Pacific, we're just going to have to force our way through, even if Russia has favourable odds, and hopefully with the severe lack of firepower from the Russian side, that they just get bad dice, rolls in our favour. I'm going to leave UK to have a 25% on France. It's not something that they should go out of their way to hit. My AA gun will be left on keep, so UK doesn't get any ideas of trying to bombard France and kill my AA gun. Which, not sure what else the UK really has to do on their turn except take Finland, Northwestern, maybe bombard France, or they send a transport to 13. Since there's no air in range, and they can land behind the Germans in Africa. 1, 2. Because I'm sending that bomber there, unless I return it back to Aurelia for that reason. So they can't split, they can't take Northwestern and Morocco on the same turn. Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe I reconsider putting it in China for now, just to zone off 13. I still zone off 8. I would still have 7 attackers. UK would have 3 destroyers, a carrier, 2 fighters, and 8. Sends the cruiser to 13. I don't know. Maybe UK does that. They go to 13 with a naked transport to Morocco and then take Northwestern, or they bombard France to try and kill my AA gun. I would prefer if they tried that instead of going for 13. I think this was a very good result, so I've already done quite a bit to support my ally here. I think the one bomber covers this. Like, we have to rely on a single bomber. I don't think I can give 13 for free here, so I'll leave the bomber in Karelia. Yeah. Yeah, like, while I want to maintain this income, because if UK tackles all this, I just have European income. Germany, it's just not good enough. I would definitely go to 13 if I was allowed to go there for free. And even then, even just the bomber alone, I would send just a lone cruiser. 50-50 just to kill the bomber like that. I'm going to deploy the artillery back, because I don't like putting them up forward here, because they're most likely... Units here are most likely going to be used on Archangel, maybe Finland, or West Russia here. Yeah, most likely Archangel and West Russia, and I can send as many units as I can to win. I don't think he can deny me. Even if he has odds, I think I just have to push forward anyway. I don't think I have much choice, I have to push forward. It does give me, if he overstacks focuses, there's a small chance I can stack Arch instead. Yes. Alright, that'll do. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Take the AA gun there. Alright. Yeah, after Germany's turn, barely matching the attack power. Alright, that's the end of Germany round 4, and I'll be back with Germany round 5. Alright, welcome back to Germany round 5. Back to UK 4 here with 4 infantry, 1 artillery, tank, and a bomber. Tank, infantry, artillery to India. 3 infantry and a bomber to United Kingdom. Blitzed Egypt. Took Finland, Baltic, Northwestern for free. Killed the transport in 36. Took Burma, no units lost, killing 2 ground. And then took West Russia, no units lost. Flawless round for UK there. That is another 1-to-1 trade. What I mean by 1-to-1 trades, because I do mention it a lot, it's an infantry plus air versus 1 infantry, right? So you're essentially trading 1 infantry for 1 infantry. I have tallied in this game so far that allies have succeeded 4 out of 4 one-to-one trades, while Axis have succeeded 1 out of 2 so far. That's an interesting note. So yeah. So yep, okay. Yep, continue to stack Transjordan to keep me away. Another guy here intending to trade West Russia again next round. Moved into 5. And yep, India is still stacked, though allies can bait India, and it's just it's even if Japan has odds on India, Japan can never realistically take it. The trade back is instantaneous, and Russians can lend support as well if need be. And plus, if Japan takes it, then essentially all Japanese transports will be empty for the rest of the game. And US has the privilege of essentially sacking transports, and there's not really much Japan can do. Japan with 2 more fighters, submarine, and 2 more destroyers. 2 destroyers, submarine to 60. 2 fighters to Japan. Combat bombed Moscow for 6, which is a very, very generous roll there. Much needed for the Axis. Did in fact retake Burma, losing nothing. So, even trade. Essentially. And then took Novo, infantry artillery. No units lost. So, very good round for Japan there. Much needed. And yeah, stacked 36 and 47 at the same time. And did block 49. Well, so US was here, and Japan could safely stack 2 territories. Both fleets were 90% holds against the US air raids, so this was a very good move here. I really did like it. I said the natural move is for Japan to go to 36 here anyway, but it's really good that they stacked both. Stacking both essentially stops US pushing to 49 and spreading their blockers out. Even though I have a bomber, so that's probably not a good point. But it's really good at dead zoning tiles further. Japan's really pushing their influence out as much as they can. I think this is a pretty good KGF defense setup with this bomber. Like, this bomber has so much impact as well, and then Japan doing that really nice move and blocking. Since Japan is investing quite a lot into destroyers, they have a lot of blockers themselves. Japan can block for their fleet, but US doesn't have that ability because of my bomber, Japan. So I think this is really slowing down the US. It's really slowing down the US. Getting confused. And yeah, this bomber is pretty crucial to Japan's survival at the moment. So I do think this is going well. I think Japan's doing very well. And this is giving... I do think this is giving the Axis the chance to come back. I think. Of course, anything can happen within the next few rounds if allies decide to just offer a massive risk by moving their fleet forward, and it's debatable whether Japan should hit it or not. But maybe it is because we are behind. Yeah, Japan also mini stacked Xinjiang, which we'll see if UK goes to hit that. Because actually stacking here opened Japan to multiple can openers. There was one, which I'll get onto it in a moment, that failed. But the other one was UK as a tank and 4 aircraft in range, which if they're feeling like this is a good chance to wipe out some of the Japanese ground in China, they might go for it. In KGFs, when I play UK, I like to be quite aggressive with them. So I would definitely consider that as UK if I was playing UK. Yeah, tank 4 fighters. Since the Japanese ground is at a high premium, because there's literally no reinforcements for the rest of the game, essentially, going into China. If UK can clear this, that's a huge result. If UK can clear this as well, massive result, because then the only thing in China is this tank, and then you have 1 infantry in Siberia, Yakut. So we'll see if they go for it. At the end of the day, it's still a risk for allies to take. So it could backfire, like heavily backfire, which we'll definitely hope for. But yeah, these are units that Japan can't recover if they're wiped out. So US with a destroyer 5. I don't know what's up with my speech today. The US bought a destroyer 5 submarines, all into 56, of course. It took Wake losing an infantry, which is really good. Really good for us if they're going to keep taking losses, taking these islands. Killed the destroyer, losing a submarine. Then lost a fighter trying to kill the Japanese infantry in Kazakh. No units lost. So this was the other can opener I was talking about, which I thought US were going to go for when they did. There was another one where US go for Burma instead, I think. US eyed that up, but actually gave up and went for this instead. But essentially, if US clears this, then Russia... I think Russia had all their tanks in Moscow or Caucasus. Russia could then go for it instead. And had a much better attack than UK at 6 tanks, 2 fighters. Which would free up UK to move more units into, like, Caucasus, for example. And not risk their air. Of course, there's pros and cons to this. If Russia committed to Xinjiang, I would be able to stack West Russia this round. There is trade-offs, right? Since they didn't go... Well, I mean, I said since they couldn't go for that, they didn't get the opportunity to because US failed their attack and failed to kill the units. So that's a very good round for Japan there. 3 hitbacks. So these are very much needed in this KGF, 100%. But there was another one where... Yeah, so let's say US cleared it and actually won. Russia would then send a tank to Szechuan, send everything they could to Xinjiang. Then UK could wipe out Burma and then also wipe out Kwang and land in Szechuan, which would annihilate all the Japanese units in China. That would have been a beautifully executed 3-nation plan, but yeah, US failed, so obviously that's completely off the table now. Russia with 4 infantry and repaired nothing on Moscow and just deployed into Caucasus. They are saving their money. Little concerning because I'm worried that they can do a mass artillery purchase next turn and deny me round 6 timing on West Russia. I am a little worried. Hopefully they can't, but maybe they can if they bring all these 8 infantry back and mass artillery purchase. This guy goes here, so everything's in range. The chance. There is a chance. But if Japan can keep playing cat and mouse through round 6 to round 7, then I don't have to push myself forward that hard, despite being slightly behind. Russia took Ivenki for free. I took back Novo, killing 2, losing 1. Took Ukraine, which was another perfect 1-to-1. And then took Kazakh, no units lost, only sending 4 ground. So, a little risky there, but it paid off. I think they overcommitted a little too hard on Novo than they needed to, but They only need the tanks available to dead zone West Russia this turn. If I commit to this and I clear this unit and I take no hit back, Russia still has a 72% IBC positive battle. Germany's gonna buy 14 ground again. Next turn or the turn after, I'm gonna start getting some tanks for a timing on Moscow. Yeah, I mean UK has 6 aircraft in range still. It'll be quite annoying in the future. And 3 tanks as well. The plan is to retake Northwestern Baltic, try and take Archangel, at least kill the unit this time because I failed last round. Take West Russia and stack Ukraine. Ukraine is stackable, it's not even like dead zoned or anything, since if Russia had these tanks in Kazakh, then it'd be slightly pressured more than it. Yeah, I'm not sure why they sent 8 here. But I suppose I can't stack Archangel in this game. Fine. This is still the buy though. Okay, well, it is pretty important that Germany does not fail at its trades in Europe. The exception is Archangel. And I think I want to commit 9 and 3 here. I want to leave 1 because I want to have free ground here. I think I'm still going to hold Karelia for 1 turn. I'm not going to push my tanks forward because I don't actually think it's possible to dead zone Caucasus this turn. I'm just going to go for a West Russia stack and threaten that. I don't want to put these tanks here. They're just better suited defending Karelia, and they have the movement to get there in a turn anyway. Of course, there's always the chance that UK and Russia fail West Russia trade, which of course is just outlandish to even consider. But if I ever want to stack Caucasus next round, all I have to do is take West Russia and take Caucasus, and then I can non-con my tanks through. After, despite the tanks not being able to use combat to get through, right? I'm pretty sure that's how it works. Of course, just keep blitzing this. I'm surprised this guy's not moved up yet. Because I think if UK moved this up much earlier, they could have had an Egypt stack by now, but I'll take little inefficiencies where I can. Unless UK is worried about me blitzing killing this, but then UK uses air to clear my tank, so it's not relevant. I don't think that line of thinking is relevant. Okay, so I want to do 2, 2. I'll do 2 here, and I'll send the bomb to Arch, so the bomber hopefully gets the hit, because the fighter's not competent enough to get the hit. Showed last round. This bomber can actually hit Archangel, because that one will just land here, and then the bomber here will go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and re-land in Japan. There is pressure on Japan, but I think Japan can either stack 60 with their entire fleet still, or they just buy to defend because they have so much air force. They have 8 fighters, so I don't think defending Japan itself is ever going to be an issue. They also have transports to sack if they're super desperate, and they have a buy as well, so yeah, the main island is safe. It's really good that US keeps going back and forth in these 3 tiles. UK is unfortunately getting pretty good value here. But I think I want to stay in France at least this turn. Next turn, I'll probably consider stack shifting from France to Northwestern. Just to make my trades just slightly more efficient. And it might misplace the UK fleet, because he obviously wants to take France for free. Okay, so that's really good. See, Axis have now done 2 out of 3 1-to-1s. I'll definitely take that. West Russia's a particularly difficult trade for UK to conquer themselves now, so that's very good. Oh, beautiful. I mean, no units lost. I cannot complain. Very good round for Germany. Uh, 10, right? Yeah, 10 ground does the trick. Reinforcements are a little pitiful. That's the problem now. It's only 6. God, I really hope they can't stop me going here, because I'm gonna have to push forward. You know, at some point I can't be held like out of this infinitely. I'm probably gonna have to take the risk. I think a 50-50 suffices, but it's a little too good at the moment. So I'm hoping this mass infantry count. Of course, this German perfect turn. And then hopefully allies get hit backs. It might be enough to push forward. Back on schedule, because I think the Axis are slightly behind. I do think so. Yeah, infantry. There's no kill like overkill. This AA gun is most likely going to West Russia anyway. I'm not trying to stack Caucasus next round. I'm trying to stack West Russia. Because I'm pretty confident allies can just stack Caucasus on their turn and still dead zone. Oh, I mean, they can still stack Caucasus no matter what I do. So. And I want to hold Karelia this round. Just to preserve my income, you know, keep the UK hands off the income for at least one more turn. Well, I suppose Russian income, but it stops UK trading forward. This stack here might go to Baltic next turn instead of Poland. Just to restack Karelia, and then I have a stack here and stack here, hopefully. Yeah. I don't think the yellow is good enough for UK to consider. Of course, if they put off the 6.3%, that will probably be game. But they are ahead, so I don't see the need risk-taking here. I could have put the AA gun forward, but I do want to preserve it. For when I stack West Russia, and it's a bit risky. Alright, outstanding turn for Germany there. Definitely needed. Yeah, 43 income is where it's pretty good. I do worry. They do a mass artillery purchase next turn. I really hope it's not enough to stop me, but I don't know. The star has had too much of an impact. If the artillery I wouldn't be surprised if the artillery purchase would be really bad. I mean, Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to receive any help from Japan. They need they need everything available to keep US away. Then again, if allies go for that, then they can't really hit Western Russia or Russia, so I'm not sure. Training against Germany for Russia as UK is really valuable, but also wiping out these units before they can run away is also really good value for the KGF to assist US. It's a trade-off, so UK is a pretty important choice to make. Do they try clear West Russia or do they go for Xinjiang? But we'll find out next time. That's the end of Germany round 5, and I'll be back for Germany round 6. Alright, welcome back to Germany round 6 here. UK 5 with 4 infantry, 2 artilleries, and 2 fighters. Infantry, well, 2 infantry, 1 artillery to India, and then artillery, 2 fighters, 2 infantry to UK. Stacked Egypt. Attack Northwestern. Killing 2 infantry, losing an infantry tank. I'll take that. Took Baltic states, losing an infantry. Took West Russia, no units lost. And took Burma, no units lost. Overall, that was an okay round for UK. Failing Northwestern's pretty nice for Germany here. Yep, in 5 still. Finally stacked Egypt here. I'm not sure if I'm retreating from Libya. I might just stay. I have to see if I have to retreat, whether it's too convenient for UK to use this bomber here or not. Might have to retreat, I'm not sure. Japan with a carrier, 2 destroyers and 4 infantry. 2 destroyers carried to 60, 4 infantry to Japan. Took back Burma. Killed infantry artillery, losing an infantry. And then took Evenki, no units lost. Retreated Xinjiang from Xinjiang. Yep, stacked 60. And actually leave the garrison in Borneo. US with destroyer 5 more submarines. Killed the transport in 36. Took Philippines for 3. And lost another infantry, taking New Guinea. I'm pretty sure that's the 3rd. The 3rd unit. Yeah, that's really, really good for us. Stacked 49 and actually blocked 48 with 3 destroyers. So, yeah, I can't clear the blocker. But Japan will be stacking 48 on their turn. And that's pretty good value to take away from US sacking 3 transports to protect their fleet. So that the US could push forward. So we'll definitely take that. This bomber's provided quite a bit of value so far. And on average results, Japan will stack this, taking 0 losses with the 2 battleships. The US would require to get obscenely lucky to get a triple hit back. If that happens, it does affect Japan's stacking odds quite a bit. So we're hoping that we don't get too unlucky here. Yeah, that's it. Russia with 4 more ground, refusing to repair Moscow still. All into Caucasus. It took Szechuan for free, took Evenki losing an infantry, took Archangel, no units lost, and then took Xinjiang, no units lost. Stacked Caucasus. Russia has 36 IPC saved right now. So I'm not too sure what Russia's doing. They might do a massive buy and artillery purchase to dead zone Caucasus next round. I do think that will happen. I'm hoping I have odds, at least a 50-50 to stack it. Otherwise I'm slowed down in West Russia. Okay, so for the Germans, well, for the Axis here, I'm going to be stacking West Russia and Japan's going to be stacking into 48. Now, assuming that UK only gets one hit back, it's a 50-50 battle. Let me get the calculation. Yeah, assuming that UK only gets one hit back, I should have 15 infantry, 4 artilleries, 1 air gun, 9 tanks. 29 defenders versus 35 attackers of 27 infantry. 6 tanks, 2 fighters. It is a almost perfect coin flip, just Axis have a 0.5 advantage. Minus 14.4 IPC attacker profit. Whilst I'm stacking here, I'm going to chuck these infantry into Ukraine as well. So Russia can roll the dice on West Russia or get a really good attack on Ukraine. At the same time, Japan's going to stack 48, which, assuming I've not miscalced, US only has a 33.6%. Minus 5 attacker profit on 48. Now, there was a move that I was thinking of, as well as my ally here, of actually using this bomber to kill that destroyer. Because if I kill that destroyer, then US odds go down to 23%. But Japan actually is fine if US takes the 33%. And actually prefers my bomber in Kangsu. So I will do that. This tile is quite active for the German bomber. It still zones off the sea zones. It also gets involved on trades for Germany as well. Yeah, that is true. Germany will be buying 5 infantry, 1 artillery, and 4 tanks. I'm going to start purchasing tanks now. Infantry, artillery, infantry. I think 2 dudes will do. Maybe I can still hold Karelia. I kind of just assumed I can't hold it, but maybe 2 infantry and 6 fighters might be holdable. Do I even need well, I would prefer to kill that attacker, to be honest. Yeah, it's a pretty interesting play, killing that destroyer. The bomber would have to land here, but if the Japanese Navy's in 48, they would have to air raid Caroline and then move to 52 or 48. I suppose 45 could work as well. Technically 46 could work. No. It would have, yeah, 52 or 44 with the Japanese Navy there. I don't know, I kind of still like hitting that, but I think Japan said they were fine, so. They have full ground here, it's fine. Send full ground in. US can't wipe out the fleet and also take Borneo, but they could go for a fleet kill and then just sack a transport for 37 to take East Indies. But I am assuming that Japan is buying more fleet on their turn, so even if they wipe it out, they still have a contested fleet in the Pacific. So. But maybe US accepts the battle. I'm not sure. All right. Good luck to the German. Straight, I mean, it's practically a straight coin flip. Interesting. I don't know if Russia would take it. It does depend on if any units survive Archangel. That's a classic fighter performance right there. But I took it flawlessly. I'll definitely take that. In fact, what that does is it removes a tank. Yeah, West Russia's fine. Yeah, very interesting. Okay, well, if this bomb is going to play up, then this little attack is... Really? Three turns in a row of misses? Are you joking? Yeah, guess I don't have to stab. What are my planes doing? What's going on? This round's a joke. I mean, I took Archangel flawlessly, but this round was a joke for these planes, man. Is that even worth it anymore? It would require UK air raiding this to get that tank involved. I think that's just way too risky on the Allied part. Seriously. Yeah, that was some truly hilarious work from those planes. I'm really glad that I've invested into them. For them to miss like that, that's really good. Maybe I leave France, like, dicey. It's like, because UK has to all in for a consistent trade there. Yeah, I think that's fine. If UK ignores that, they just trade these two again. Alright, I'm going to quickly calculate my Karelia odds, considering this is now in... UK has a better attack because of these dice. Alright, so this will be the final configuration for Germany here. Going to fall back to Algeria. They have an 80% on Libya if I stay put. It's too good for them, they don't deserve that. West Russia is... Since this worked flawlessly and it requires a significant amount of aerial attention from UK to air raid these, this tank is out of commission, which means that I actually have 67.3% to hold. Much better odds than I was thinking I was going to get, so I'll definitely take that. Of course, if UK air raids this, the tank gets back into play and it's a straight coin flip, then I'll discuss with my ally if it's worth sending that Japanese bomber across as fodder, just to flip it back into Axis favor. I calculated to see if I could stack Karelia. If that unit died, I would have. I definitely would have. But UK has a overall 26%. Doesn't sound very good, but it's barely IBC negative. So it's actually worth, in a weird sense, despite having poor odds, it's worth UK going for it to wipe out more than half of my German Air Force. On a 1-round strafe, it looks very good for them. They lose 6 units, so they lose 5 ground, 1 plane, but then they get 3 ground, 2 planes out of me, which is very good value for them. So I have to give it up. Unfortunately, that's the way it is because that infantry survived. Here. If that died, then it would have been 13%. Much more IBC negative, so. Unfortunately, I have to go at Karelia. I'm still going to leave 2 guys there. So I'm still going to try and stretch. Of course, since this unit now survived, UK could technically only use this infantry and aircraft to try and clear it. If they're lucky enough, the UK unit survives and takes it. UK transport. Then the UK transports are free to take both of these tiles. So with that in mind, I'm leaving a tiny little stack in France, 3 infantry, 1 AA gun, so it most likely will require both UK transports to potentially guarantee a take without risking too much air. But if they go that way, they can still pull both off. No VC attempt, is there? No. There is not. Yeah, let's say best case scenario, UK takes both territories. They go to 9. US will have no path to Hangzhou, and Japan is retaking Philippines and stacking with full ground. So it's just way too much. There's no VC. As normally the danger in KJF is when you step off of Karelia and you give up France is the VC attempt, but I don't think it's here. Yeah, I'm going to leave my aircraft and artillery here so that if UK does trade these 2, I have an artillery and UK can't air raid the UK can't air raid the ground without losing a bunch of air to try and do so. I'm going to stack forward with this mini stack. This mini stack's big enough for the UK that they can't trade it. Because they could try, but it's a big risk on their air force. Also big enough it's big enough that Russia can't effectively do a very efficient trade. They have to overcommit. And if Russia overcommits, then that's less defenders. And it's less defenders for Moscow, 1. But less attackers on Caucasus Dead Zone from the Russians. So I'm trying to bleed Russia here. Unfortunately, it does suck because that's quite a few Germans that could die here. But if Russia like sacks a tank, couple unit infantry, they might try 2 infantry, 1 tank, 2 fighters. I'll have to take it, of course. But yeah, right after these guys will push and retake anyway. So I might have West Russia stacked, but Caucasus might be dead zoned. But it should finish as I have an incoming of 12 ground. And possibly a follow-up of 9 more as well. And more tanks. So we're looking at probably around 8 or 9 timing on Caucasus stack. So it is much later. The usual timing, I'm pretty sure, is roughly 5 to 7. But Russia's had a really strong start, as I've said many times already. So yeah, that is the plan for the Germans. Alright, so 41 IPC for Germany. I think it's just slightly below average for this state, this turn, but I think we're fine. The Axis are hanging on, and we are pushing forward now. I do feel like if Russia was a little bit more aggressive with their purchases, they might have denied me moving forward this turn. I do think so. Alright, well, that is the end of Germany round 6, and I'll be back for Germany round 7. Alright, welcome back to Germany round 7 here. Go back to UK 6 with 6 infantry, 2 fighters. 3 infantry, 2 fighters to UK with 3 infantry to India. Blitzed Libya here for 3. Took Baltic, losing an infantry. I took Karelia, killing 2, losing 1. Took Burma, no units lost. Stacked Xinjiang. Pretty much it for the UK. Stayed in Egypt, sent a couple more dudes into Persia. They're going to filter in through China this way around. Or towards Moscow. Japan with 6 submarines, 1 infantry. Killed a transport 3 destroyers, no units lost. Took back Philippines, losing an infantry. Then took Szechuan, no units lost. With bomber infantry. Stacked Kangsu. And stacked 48. Deployed everything into 60 here. As you can see, a lot's happened here. On the US's turn with 7 more submarines. All into 56, of course. Took French, Indo, and East Indies for free. And hit 48. Killing. It ended in a draw because so the US sub survived and Japanese plane survives. Obviously they can't they can't hit each other. The fighters can't hit the subs without a destroyer, so combat just ended, killing the transports. So yeah, US lost 2 carriers, 5 destroyers, 1 cruiser, 8 submarines, 4 fighters, 1 bomber, 1 battleship. Defenders lost 6 destroyers, 7 subs, 4 carriers, 1 fighter, 1 cruiser, 2 battleships, 2 transports. So, interesting result. From what I calculated, US got a top 33% result. But Japan also got a top 44% because of the amount of fighters that survived. So yeah, above average results for both sides. Better for US. And arguably much better because yeah, US killed all the transports and of course took East Indies. And there's literally no way that Japan's ever going to take East Indies back. No, I did miscalc slightly. I thought it was a 60%, roughly 60%, but it was actually closer to more of a coin flip. So, and US felt the need that the risk was worthy of taking, despite arguably being ahead, in my opinion. And I think they got rewarded for it slightly more than us here. So I do think allies are, well, in the Pacific theater, I think allies, looking at the entire board, I would say allies are ahead, but looking at the Pacific, I would say US is slightly behind. You know, I mean, US has full dominance over the Pacific now, and has a whopping, I think I calculated 120 IPC worth value into submarines. It won't really do much in this game unless they backtrack. They spend 3 turns to backtrack to Atlantic or Med to dead zone them both, right? But that's a lot of money. It's a money dump that's not really going to provide much value for the Allies if we can stretch this out to a long game. And Japan kept 7 fighters, which 7 fighters? Japan has a almost fully intact air force, which the value of aircraft in KJFs go up exponentially, I would say. Far more value than surface ships, since they can influence ground and, of course, navy. So, essentially, Japan just has to sit in Borneo and just dead zone the sea zones. Can fly to the islands and just keep it all dead zoned, despite mass subs in the waters. Japan has their own sub core. As long as the subs are kept on submerge and out of the way of this destroyer, the subs are safe as well. So yeah, Japan can spend the turn actually spreading out and keeping 37 dead zoned when the IC gets dropped, and 36 of course. So I think Japan's position's not that bad in the Pacific. Of course, China could look a lot better. Yeah, Japan's going to be running out of money real quick. Alright, so Russia with 7 artilleries, as predicted, attempting the dead zone Caucasus as hard as they can, and repaired 8 on Moscow. Combat took Soviet Far East and Yakut for free. Took Armway for free. Took Szechuan, no units lost. Took Archangel, losing an infantry. We'll stack Moscow. Alright, so the plan for Germany here is 5 infantry and 4 more tanks. I'm going to save the 2. I will be stacking Caucasus here, since US have succeeded in a landing. I have to stack here now to match timings. It's the way it is. Axis are behind overall on the board, I would say. So, but unfortunately, Russia has a good strafe on Caucasus. I suppose they could conquer if they're lucky enough. Maybe not. I'd do dead zone it next turn. So on a best case scenario is that this infantry misses here. Russia will have a 69.6% to win the battle without a plane sack. 10 IPC profit on average. So yeah, I wish it was worse, much worse. But it's what we have to deal with here. If he does get a hit back, then it goes straight up to a 78.8%, 20 IPC profit. Average is yeah, average is Russia conquers with artillery, 6 tanks left. On a worst case scenario. But yeah, no choice for the Axis here. Have to stack it to keep up with the US. But yeah, Russia's first turn showing its colors still. Trade Karelia. Hopefully UK misses. I really need them to miss. Like, if Russia's gonna get hit here, hopefully they miss, so I actually conquer the territory. And these ground, I think most of them are gonna go here. I might leave some to move into Poland. And I'm probably just gonna keep France lightly stacked like this, hold it cheaply. UK with only 2 transports, like, has to fully commit and risk planes if they want to take France still. So yeah, that is the plan for the Germans. I pretty much have to send everything. I don't even think I can leave a guy left in West Russia. So UK can essentially just take it for free if they want the money. I suppose I could push forward and tempt UK to do an attack here. But I think their odds have increased since they have 1 extra dude in range. Let's have a look at that. Have a look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 and 1. Bomber. Is the battle too good for them? Yeah, 90%. So with the extra infantry, it went up to a 90%. UK takes loot with infantry, artillery, tank left. So unfortunately, that's just way too much value for the UK, more than they deserve. So I'm just not going to push forward. Another thing is Japan can handle this on their own. I'm actually going to kill this tank for Japan. Hopefully I get lucky and the tank misses. And yeah, Baltic. Now the problem is if I fail to take Karelia, then UK has 7 aircraft in range on Baltic. So I'm kind of forced to send everything if this misses. If I can't take this territory. And I'm pretty sure that's it, right? I would love to hit Archangel, but I cannot spare a single man out of Caucasus. I have to stack it and hope that Russia doesn't strafe it, or strafes it and gets bad dice. Literally it. I suppose there's plans that UK could just sack themselves on it to increase Russian odds. If that's the case, hopefully the 1-2 gets completely botched by dice. That's all I have to say. I don't think UK has to sacrifice. I mean, UK could do, yeah, like 2 infantry, 1 artillery, 3, 6, 8 fighters and a bomber. I just don't know if it's even worth doing that. The Allies are ahead. But if UK hits it and Russia completely crushes the stack, I think that's the game. Pretty bad. Did this get any worse? Will UK get a hit back here? Oh, beautiful. Oh, that would bring... Yeah, this is... Yeah, I mean, Baltic is relatively safe now. Beautiful. Wow, okay. Come on. Another 6. Yeah, 5. Yeah, that did not work. Alright, well, I guess technically my bomber paid for itself more than enough, but that sucks not killing that tank. That cannot be happening, this state of the game at all for the Axis. My aircraft, where are you guys going? Well, Berlin's safe, so there's no worry there. That sucks so much, it's so annoying. I have to stop thinking about it. I suppose I got my value out of killing that cruiser, I guess. And its presence in the Pacific. Against the US Navy blockers, I guess. Too good to be true. Okay, so these planes, I guess, just sit in Poland. Center of Europe, they don't need to be anywhere else. They threaten Moscow. They threaten every territory that I need to trade, and they dead zone 8 if UK attempts to go all in on France. They would have to take both territories, which is, well, it's not impossible, but it's a massive risk to not send every ground unit to try and take it, just in case I luck out and shoot 3 of his planes down. Yeah, 46 IPC for Germany. And a very late timing on Caucasus, I will say. Yeah, I don't know. I think Allies don't need to take the risk, but if they take the risk, I don't think there's much. Assuming average dice, Allies always benefit from hitting this. But yet again, if Russia hits it, it's one of those battles where Russia can't recover. Not that it matters too much, UK's air force is ludicrously large, so... But that's normally standard for UK anyway. Alright. It's the end of Germany round 7, and I'll be back for Germany round 8. Alright, welcome back to Germany round 8. Go back to UK 7 with 7 infantry, transport and 2 artilleries, transport to 8, 3 infantry to India, and then 4 infantry, 2 artilleries to UK. Liberated Yunnan. Yep, Yunnan here. Took Guang for free. Took France, killing 3 infantry, 1 AA gun, losing 1 infantry. And then took back Karelia. No units lost. So a really good round for UK here. Not only did I not get a hit back here, but UK got a top 20% result on France. The average was UK fails to take the territory, but all their planes survive. But 2 infantry survived and they conquered. So, despite risking air force, they got away with it here. So that's really unfortunate for Germany. Really big unit drain here. Yeah, it sucks. Top 20% for allies there. That's not a good sign if you are already behind, that the allies get top results like that. But it looks like they failed to blitz Libya this turn, so I'll take it. And they stacked Onway. Sub to 61, yeah, just infantry chain to Moscow. So yeah. Japan with an Industry 2 fighters. I took out the 3 transports in 37 and 36. and took back Kwang. No units lost. IC to Kangsu. Japan is going to be poor, but has kept 2 islands and will keep Kangsu minimum, hopefully. So 2 infantry a turn just to maintain the VC at the very least is not a bad idea. Japan has a huge air force to maintain and go for air raids in the future. But yeah, it sent the 6 subs to 36 as well. US with 2 industries of their own. French, Indochina, and East Indies, and transport artillery. Might be worth Japan buying another bomber and sending a bomber to 50, I think, to keep this guy away. Yeah, that's definitely a consideration. US moved their subs down to near the Pacific Islands here. Money Islands. Yeah, that's fine. But Japan's air's gonna move in range of this, I think. The US is making a lot of money, so I wouldn't be surprised to see a carrier to fight a drop at a minimum here with a destroyer fodder. Unless Japan kills it early. 1, 2. Potentially. Might have to roll the dice there. Yeah, didn't move from French Indo. Russia with 5 infantry, 2 artilleries, all into Moscow, of course. Blitzed West Russia and Bury, taking Manchuria free. Did not hit Caucasus, which I'm happy with. I guess allies feel that they are quite ahead now after that battle. So, of course, my failing of killing the tank. So Russia's making a lot more money than they should be ever in a KJF. Bit of a Russian wet dream in this game so far. Okay, so now it's all about Moscow odds timing. Now G9 does not look anywhere near good. Germany has roughly a 4% if I do a G9 buy. But if I go for a 2 infantry, 4 artillery, 4 tanks buy this turn, go for a G10 timing, I have a 61% on Moscow, assuming I've actually calculated correctly and predicted correctly. It does assume UK buys no planes for India to get in range next turn. And yeah, it will be 4 artilleries and 2 bombers, I think, if I have enough strength to do that. I'm not sure I will because of the UK transport threat now. So it might just be 1 bomber. So I guess a more realistic assumption would be a 50-50 straight up. I'll keep an eye on the odds, see if they improve the round after. But if they get worse after that turn, after G10, I will have to take the odds on G10. We both agree that it's the odds will be the best ever then and there, and I'll be forced to take it. So G10 will be the timing, the full timing, unless G11 I have better odds somehow. So yeah. And when Germany hits this, they will need to get an above average result. That's definitely for sure. Since US already has an IC on the mainland and already has an island. So, yeah, Germany needs an above average. It's possible, it could happen. Alright, so yeah, Germany 2 infantry, 4 artillery, 4 tanks. Be the buy. Have to commit 3 because I have to make sure I take this territory. The plan will be to take back Karelia. These 4 tanks will go. Karelia does need to be defended just in case UK decides, you know what, I'm going to test the waters and hit Karelia. So I'm going to ensure that it is not very attractive to hit. I'm going to hit Caucasus with 1 infantry, 3 fighters and a bomber. Pray to God that there is no double hit back from the Allies here. I'm going to kill these defenders. Russia would have to consider air raiding that unit. It's an extra defender that could... If Japan can spare air force to turn after. Yeah, so Russia 9, Russia 10, and G10. So yeah, ideally this unit dies. I might have to do it myself. I might have to risk my air force to kill that infantry before it makes it back. Yeah, this will be the plan here. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty massive stack, but I have to stack that much to compensate for the potential hit back. I suppose I'll do this instead. Best case scenario, what does that look like? He misses, it's still 94. 1 round, what does a 1 rounder look like? He has all of his planes left and loses all of his infantry. Kill 6. Yeah, pretty bad. I might have to overstack it. I might have to overstack it like mad to stop UK like attempting. Because if my defense is too strong and he tries it, I might chew through his infantry and kill some defenders. I'd have to kill 9+ units to get to his defense. Even then, he sacks the bomber off first. I have to get at least over 10 hits in the first round. I'd have to calculate Caucasus, see if I can send even more defenders here. Yeah, we will see. Alright. So Libya is interesting. I'm actually going to leave them here. So UK has the option to wipe them out. I prefer UK wiping out North Africa now, instead of landing in France again. Yeah, but I think the best move for UK is just to trade the front again. So I have to pull more. I have to pull more units back from Berlin's defense, which means I can't buy as many bombers for the Moscow timing. But yeah, all right. Good luck to the Germans. Could send a tank to Archangel, but I think it's a waste of a tank. So annoying. Free infantry bleed there. I don't know, maybe UK just ignores North Africa now. Okay, that's completely fine. Completely fine with that. That was a very good round for Germany. Outstanding even. I'm not even interested in leaving. I'm not interested in leaving any infantry in West Russia because UK will just trade it for Russia. It's that simple. UK is very efficient with their trades, so there's no point me attempting to play off hitbacks. It's not going to work. So Karelia was flawless, but what makes it so that UK gets punished particularly hard for hitting it on a 1-round strafe? So the 2 extra tanks mean that on average I get 8 hitbacks, meaning that UK can sack these 2, still have 4 hiding. No bomber. Okay, so that's fine. Berlin is interesting. I'm going to leave UK a 13%. I don't think UK ever takes it. But it requires UK dropping a carrier. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so this plane can land on this carrier. And then UK needs to buy another carrier so that the extra plane here can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's fine. Bombers in range. Yeah, UK has a 13% on Berlin. Completely fine. Caucasus right now. 17 plus 24. 25, my bad. 4 math. Plus 4 artillery. 25, 9, 1. 9 and 3 is very safe, 93%. So I can bleed some tanks. I can move tanks. What does that look like? -4 fighters. Very, very bad attack on UK. 4 fighters left, which is exactly this. Four fighters and a bomber. That's fine. That's very costly for UK still. A 1-rounder, the allies get annihilated. And if I really high roll with my tanks, I might even obliterate more planes if I'm lucky enough. Yeah, that will do. All right. Yeah, that's Russia being almost half the attack power of Germany. The KGF is definitely not your average look on a Russian strength at all. It's definitely not. Alright. Well, that is the end of Germany round 8, and I'll be back for Germany round 9. Alright, welcome back to Germany round 9. Go back to UK 8 with a carrier, fighter, 5 infantry, 1 artillery. Carrier, fighter to 8. 2 infantry, 1 artillery to United Kingdom. 3 infantry to India. Took Northwestern for free, took Baltics for free, took Libya stacking it for free. Took France, killing 3 infantry, no units lost. And took Huang. No units lost. So that was a really good round for UK there. That's another really great result for UK, especially after round 7. They also got a really good result on France. Unacceptable, but there's not really much we can do about it. Yeah, UK moving into 5. Sent every plane to Moscow, of course. Move the sub into 37 to support the US. Yep. Japan with a bomber infantry tank. Bomber to Japan with infantry tank to Kangsu. I think they saved a bit of money. Okay, air raided Kazakh losing a fighter. Attacked Kwangtung losing an infantry, killing 1. Attacked 46 losing a bomber, killing the destroyer. Air raided Anhui, no units lost, killing an infantry. And took back Manchuria, no units lost, killing a tank. Yeah, that was a very risky round for Japan, but game is very Allied favored right now. So there's no option really for Japan except to pray everything worked. But Allies have really good hitbacks. Killed the bomber, that's really unfortunate, and killed the fighter. It's really bad. Yeah, Japan then just stacked Kangsu with their planes and sent some planes to Borneo. Yep, sent a plane to Caucasus. US with carrier, 3 fighters, destroyer. Carrier, 2 fighters, destroyer, 237 with a fighter to French Indochina. This fighter can make it to Moscow. Unfortunately for us. Stacked 37 and then split their subs around. Not that really does anything. And sent the transport to 43 since 44 was zoned off by the bomber. So it is delayed pressure on these for 1 round. But it will go to 45 next round, which US can protect, or 39, which does the same thing but no pressure on the islands. So alright, so Russia with 8 infantry and repaired 1 to Moscow. 8 infantry to Moscow, of course. Blitzed West of Russia, but then decided to put an infantry forward, as well as Archangel. Moved the guy from Xinjiang to Zak. So yeah, the game will end round 10. Well, it could end round 10, I suppose. I should be a little bit hopeful here. But G10 will be the timing that the Axis choose here. Axis best odds are a 40% on Moscow, minus 40 attacker profit. That is it. And that is assuming the best case scenarios being that I take and conquer, no units lost, Archangel, no hitbacks in West Russia. Yeah, that's pretty much it. And of course, that Berlin doesn't fall as well, because the situation is quite dire now to the point where we have to go for an all-in on Moscow, but I can't defend Germany enough without compromising my Moscow odds anymore. So UK is going to have odds on Berlin. If UK wants to roll the dice on Berlin, obviously takes, that's game. No doubt about it. No doubt about that at all. The UK could just take away my odds on rolling entirely. But the only reason the UK is having this opportunity is because they've had 2 really good results in France. So if they then win Berlin, then so be it. There's not really much I could have done to prevent this. To keep up with US progression in Pacific. In hindsight, maybe it was a bad decision for Japan to move into 48. But US got a pretty good result in 48. So if the dice behaved a little differently, a little bit more Axis favored, then hindsight is a little bit more 2020 than we thought. So A lot of difficult decisions. Yes, it's very difficult. Very difficult situation. Alright, so Germany's going to buy 8 infantry for Berlin and 1 artillery as well. And then 4 artilleries for Caucasus. Normally when you do Moscow timers you buy bombers, but since UK's attack power is so high on Berlin, I have to resort to just dumping ground in Berlin. I have no choice. Now, pretty sure I calculated Berlin's, yeah, there it is. So UK is going to have a 68.6% on Berlin, and there's nothing I can do about it. I can't compromise Moscow odds anymore. If UK goes for it and gets horrifically bad dice, then Axis have a chance to take Moscow still, right? So it's another risk. Should allies be taking that? Probably not. Because they are quite ahead, I would say, in this game. Yeah, odds don't really improve after this. I seriously doubt it. Because UK could start funneling fighters. They could get into a better position, start funneling fighters. US could probably somehow manage to do the same, and US is already actually reinforcing this turn. So. And the situation is, I suppose Japan could sort it out, but US could actually get the tank in range and buy planes, and then actually threaten a retake after I've taken it. But I don't know. I'm sure Japan can somehow defend if I successfully take Moscow. I'm sure that they can kill that tank or to help defend me. But yeah, there's a lot of advantage for the Allies right now. The plan is to commit 1 guy, everything else I will commit 1 tank for now. Because I still need to figure out, I'm going to have to double stack both West Russia and Caucasus to stop UK attacking. With their 4 ground and 10 aircraft. Ruining Caucasus. The 4 artillery need to be protected, so I have to double stack and offer Russia odds, favorable odds on either target. I have to take back and hit France. It is, I can't, this has to work. That's all I'm saying. And this guy has to kill that unit. With the bomber. The bomber has to kill out infantry, otherwise UK odds actually get better. And then this has to also work conquering. So it increases my odds. Assuming UK doesn't get greedy and air raids it and doesn't suffer a hit back. It would actually increase my odds by 7%. So it is so vital. Everything goes perfectly for Germany here. I'm going to stay put in Libya, Algeria, because it doesn't really matter if UK goes for this. So yeah. I'm going to understack Caucasus because Japanese air is air raiding this area and then landing here. Japan has said that, yeah, these 4 planes will make their way to Caucasus, no matter what happens. So I can understack Caucasus when I go to calculate it. Yeah, this should be the combat for Germany. These planes will go 1, 2, 3, 4 most likely, and land where the tanks are. I suppose UK could also air raid it, but it's one of those things where UK should be minimizing all risk and just shut up. Allies have the initiative, so they don't need to. They already have the initiative. They don't need to do anything risky, in my opinion. So, yeah, that'll be it. Good luck to the Germans. Like, everything has to be perfect. Everything. I suppose it's not a big deal if I fail to take Baltic, but he cannot get a hit back here. Okay, France is always mandatory. So... oh, beautiful. Okay. The bomber, it doesn't matter if I take Baltic. The unit has to die. Okay. Of course, it's very, very unfortunate if the game does continue past this point. -2 income, like that. But I have no choice. Okay, so I'm going to pause here and figure out what I'm doing with all these ground units, and I'm just going to offer pretty much the exact same results. Assuming Japan takes no hitbacks air readiness, UK can put 3 guys there, but we have to assume a perfect result. We have to assume Japan clears with no losses. A 5v4, no losses air raid. So that's pretty much it. Alright, this will be the final configuration for Germany here. So UK will have adjusted it slightly. The 50-50 on Berlin. The bomber dies last. So 60%, pretty much exactly 60% since the bomber's dying last. The bomber needs to die last so that it can get involved in Moscow. West Russia has 39 units defending. Russia has a 96% on West Russia, and then Caucasus will have 36 units, assuming the best case scenario is Japan suffers 0 losses. This is how absurd, yeah, this is absurd how lucky Axis need to get this round and G10. Round 10. Russia has a 98%. The most profitable strafes you could imagine. And I suppose there's an argument to be made that maybe Germany should just stack West Russia alone. Maybe that's the better choice, but Allies don't need to do anything. That's the way I see it. Since Germany's odds are only at 40%. This is an all-in. Allies are already ahead. So it is pretty integral that those 4 artilleries are included in the timing, because without them, only have a 13% of Moscow. So this is it. If UK takes Berlin, if Russia's strafe is as expected, because these are not dicey battles for Russia. They have 90+% to conquer, so their strafe will be absolutely insanely good profit. If they get if they get the expected strafe, it's probably game. I'm just gonna have to roll the dice on Moscow. That's the way it is. I've not even included UK's attempts to 1-2 with Russia, because I shouldn't consider it. We're so far behind. We just have to roll the dice on Moscow. So. And yeah, that'll be it. That's also fine. I am forced to keep a plane behind. And Karelia is free. There's no VC win. UK can take both. US could high roll and take Kangsu, but they can't take Philippines, so they don't get 10 out of 10. There you have it. This has to switch. Yeah. All right. Alright, so that's the end of G9, and I'll be back for Germany round 10. Alright, welcome back to Germany round 10. UK 9 with 2 more fighters, 5 infantry, 3 artilleries, 2 fighters to 6, 2 infantry to India, and then 3 and 3 to United Kingdom. Took back Karelia for 3. Took France, killing an infantry, no units lost, and then failed Archangel, killing a unit. Oh. Yeah, my units in France are just always asleep when the UK arrives and get no hitbacks. Okay, so yep, UK's pushing forward. They've actually retreated from Libya, which is interesting. They didn't have to, but fine, I guess. I'll just push forward. I don't really care for the safety of these units anymore. Yeah, stacks 6 as well to reinforce Moscow with 4 more planes. Moved into 5 with 1 destroyer. Yeah, there's 3 ships here for 1 transport. That's not worth it. Japan with an infantry 2 fighters. Infantry fighter 2 Kangsu and a fighter 2 Japan. Blitzed Onway and Bury. For 3 took Xinjiang and Kwangtung, Yakut, Soviet Far East for 3. Hit 37. Losing 6 submarines, 2 fighters, and the defenders lost carrier destroyer, 2 fighters. So Japan actually succeeded killing the surface fleet there. So that's actually a pretty good result for us here. Delays any transport drops into 37. And then, crazily enough, air-raided Kazakh, killing 4 ground, losing no planes. Utterly insane result there. Could not have asked for better. Truly magnificent there. Stack Caucasus with me. Okay. Bombers out of reach of this transport. This is really good. This is really good if the game will continue past this point. US with 4 fighters and a carrier. Carrier, 2 fighters to 37, and then 2 fighters to French Indo to get in range of Moscow. Took Kwang, losing an infantry. And killed the tank in Xinjiang, losing the tank. That would take the territory. So we'll take that. Yeah, sent their stack of 19 submarines into 61. So like if the game continues past this point, right? This value is so wasted. It really is wasted. That's why I prefer the carrier fighter strategy with US than the subs. Because if Germany is successful in Europe and takes Moscow, I mean, this is what I say. This is what, around... Yeah, this is like 120 IPC worth of US value into a useless unit, pretty much. I can't do anything. Of course, Japan will never get to fleet ever in the game, but if they were bombers instead, bombers provide far more value than these submarines, that's for sure. Russia with 4 infantry, 2 artilleries. Strafed West Russia. And retreated. Okay, so... Germany lost 14 infantry, an AA gun, 9 artilleries, 10 tanks. Russia retreated with 3 infantry, 9 artilleries, 5 tanks, 2 fighters, losing 34 infantry. Now, Russia got the expected result, and Germany has 1 less tank than average. On many other occasions, I would be fine with average results, but it is too late for average results for the Axis here. We need something spectacular to happen. Yeah, everything into Moscow, of course. Alright, so Germany's going to buy 12 ground and hit Moscow. Germany has I think I calculated a 25%. I'll quickly adjust the unit count. Yeah, pretty much an exact 1 in 4 chance to take Moscow. If I can take Moscow, then Allies cannot retake it back, and Russia is fully dead. So yeah, here we go. Do outnumber Russia here. I'm going to take this. I will hit this, the fighter. And then artillery, 2 infantry. I guess 4. I suppose if I take this, UK could YOLO Berlin, but I don't have much choice. Yep, alright. The UK's gonna have... I suppose they have... Probably do have odds. What is that? That's... 4... 10, 14, 15 versus 15. Yeah, I mean, UK probably has odds there, so... Yeah, not a lot I can really do, though, being honest. I suppose it does mean that this has to be flawless. Kill that transport. Stop these guys being included. Alright. Let's lock this in then. If Germany fails Moscow, it's GG anyway, so result, France doesn't matter. If I can't take Moscow. These are not good rolls. They're not good enough. They're okay, but they're just not good enough, especially after that. Yeah, that's GG. Alright. All right. That is forget. I forget. I will forget this from my memory, yes. Right, that is the end of this game here. Allies victory. Axis forfeit after the failed Moscow battle. Alright, well, that was a pretty interesting game. Yeah, GG and well played to Reba and Jessable here. Definitely very strong players, that's for sure. Very well executed KJF, which I was a little surprised to see. But I guess Russia's start was so strong. They felt confident that they could play the slightly unoptimal playstyle that is KJF. Normally, with a start this strong from Russia, KGF strategies normally just better, right? Average West Russia and then a very strong Ukraine strafe with only 2 infantry lost. I think Germany had a fighter remaining, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 1 from Ukraine. Alright, let's go over this game. So, I think G1 was okay, but Season 10 failed, which is pretty huge. The risk was definitely justified. If that had worked, then the UK might not have gotten their fleet up, and would have definitely been far from effective as they have been in this game. Yeah, pretty rough result for 7. Yeah, but since I didn't kill the destroyer, I had to sack my submarines. Yeah, I think UK was pretty normal as well. Killed, yeah, pretty standard. UK won. Japan opted for Szechuan. I guess that could have been the deciding factor. I think that was that was a pretty big decision that we made as the Axis. It was either Szechuan, take the risk on it, or do Pearl. Do Pearl because I'm buying air with Germany, and that's pretty nice combo, killing that US fleet in the Pacific. So allies can't do KGF Medshucks with a larger German air. It's not really. It gets a little too much. Yeah, I think Japan got pretty bad dice. Yeah, it was one. It was one US fighter left versus 3 Japanese planes, and yeah, Japan completely whiffed everything. Very unfortunate. Allies took immediate advantage of that, and KJF opted for the transport buy over the max pressure, which was very interesting. Uh, Russia, I think most of Russia's combats were near perfect. I don't think Russia had any problems for the first 3 rounds, pretty much. Even Ukraine taking it 1-1 again, but they did fail for the first time. I think Germany, for the first time in 2 rounds, 2 to 3 rounds, Germany was getting hitbacks, and Russia finally failed one of their attacks. Yeah, the early rounds were quite punishing for Germany. I think, especially round 2, I failed Ukraine. Very, very nasty, and a double hit back in Ukraine. So, Russia round 1, you know, superb, and then following trades afterwards, Allies were getting very good hitbacks, really slowed Germany down. And in that sort of turn of events and results, it's just unacceptable in a KGF because Germany has to push forward quite aggressively to keep up with aggressive US timings. Yeah, pretty flawless there. I think Yeah, we resorted to SBR with Japan and Germany on Moscow because we were behind. Definitely justified when you're behind to try an SBR. Bit of roulette. Definitely a big factor in delaying the KJF was the German bomber. Definitely quite effective. When it came to US finally pushing forward, they had to sacrifice three US destroyers to push forward against the German bomber clearing blockers, right? Germany did get that very good result in 59. I think Germany went for the tank and just failed completely. The tank lived. Buying Russia an extra artillery, essentially, that's what it was. Russia was making a lot of money in this game. That's to be expected. Yeah, such a killer start. Yeah, I think Japan actually played very well. This position is actually not that bad as it looks. If I had taken Moscow, Japan did a very good job. Very, very good job. Along with the German bomber delaying US, we were quite effective. And if the game did continue, that's 120 IPC in subs, which are completely useless. Completely useless. I mean, the US attack power is so bad. That's normally the expected. It's normally quite low for US. But my point still stands. There's so much money into subs being so useless. And yeah, Japan was very effective delaying the US surface fleet actually getting a foothold in the Pacific. Despite US having full dominance over the Pacific, the Japanese air was still very effective. Yeah, when US took that battle, I still think it was a very good result for US. They got top 1 in, what, 33%, I think I said. The Japanese result was okay as well, but only because of the amount of planes that survived. But it was still, we were behind, we offered a risk, and US came out on top still. It's just unfortunate, right? It's just unfortunate for the Axis. I think Japan got punished in some attacks as well in China. But yeah, that Kazakh raid, that recent Kazakh raid was just absolutely spectacular. It's just a shame it didn't matter in the end because Germany could not win the 1 in 4 chance, the 25% on Moscow. Yeah, pushed forward. I think on the same turn, US took the risky battle here. Russia had an option to try and punish West Russia, but they opted to ignore it. Same with Caucasus. Russia could have punished Caucasus with a very deadly strafe, chose not to. Um, but then, yeah, I chose to stack both West Russia and Caucasus because the extra 4 artilleries was so important to the timing that I just had to offer Russia very, very good strafing odds on either and pray that they did not get average, which is what they got. They got average result. They didn't get above average or average, but they got a very poor result, which would increase my odds afterwards. Or Russia gets 2 good dice and conquers. That was the other. That was the other option. If Russia got too lucky and conquered, then I would be able to backcap Moscow, which would keep Axis in the game. It would be a very weird situation I'd have to work my way around, but I'm sure I could take and Japan could defend me against Russia, but we'll see. I might be able to there was a lot of allied planes there, though. It would have been a very weird situation, but of course it didn't happen in this game. And then when it came to UK trading in Europe, they got very, very fortunate rolls. I think, especially the past 3 rounds, they got very, very good exchanges with Germany. Very, very efficient and above average results. That's pretty much killed Germany's strength in Europe. It actually gave UK really interesting YOLO options if I did actually pull this off. UK had a 50-50 minimum, or maybe even 75%. I don't remember. But yeah, very interesting game. I think we played well for being behind. I think that is 3 out of 3 games that we played from the back foot, so I think we've done our best. But against equal or superior players, when you have to take risk when you're behind, otherwise you just get slowly strangled to death. And we definitely took many risks, but unfortunately it was not enough in this game. Alright, so with this loss here, that does unfortunately mean that is the end of my journey and my duos partner Husky's journey in the duos tournament here. We made it to losers round 2, so we played 3 games, lost 2, won 1, but they were not easy games, especially with the caliber of opponents that we were facing. And if you're not going to have an average start against equal to superior opponents, it is very difficult to come back. You have to take a risk early on, and many risks, because strong players will stranglehold you to death and kill you slowly, pretty much, reducing as much risk as possible to avoid you coming back. That's pretty much it. Alright, yes, that'll be the end of this video and this series for Season 6 for duos. Pretty sure it's Season 6. Thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your time, and I'll catch you in the next one.